Hello everybody, my name is April and I'm making this video because I recently had a procedure done, and I'm not going to keep you for too long. My goal is to keep this video at 3 minutes, so hopefully I could give you my pre-surgery experience before the procedure and post-surgery experience after the surgery, and hopefully you get something out of it. But what inspired me to make the video is because before my surgery, I went and I did research, as any person would do. And I looked at a couple of YouTube videos to try and prepare myself to see what other women's experience were like, to try and get an idea of what my experience might be like. And was it helpful? Kind of, sort of. It was. But out of all the videos that I've seen, my experience wasn't like any of them. So I really felt like, oh my goodness, girl, you have to make a video. You have to put it out there to share your experience, because what if other people look at that video too and drive themselves crazy thinking that that's going to be the experience, and it may not be. So I'm sharing my experience because most of it is positive, and hopefully if you're going through the same thing, you'll have a positive experience too. And if you're just looking at the video because you're interested in knowing about the procedure and how it affects patients, then hopefully you'll get something out of it too. So the procedure that I had is called a McDonald's cervical cerclage. And a cerclage is a cervical stitch. They stitch a woman's cervix closed, or together I should say. And usually it's done in one of two cases. Either it's an emergency case where you're not really far along in your pregnancy yet, but your cervix has begun to open and they don't want baby to come too early. They want the baby to go as far along as possible within the pregnancy, so they stitch it to close the cervix up in an emergency case. Or in my case, you have already had a history of having a miscarriage before, and you've been diagnosed with cervical incompetence or insufficient cervix, and before you even get to that point, you already go into this pregnancy knowing that you'll have to have a cerclage to keep your cervix closed throughout the pregnancy. So it may not even be opening, or it may not even be shortening yet, but they're doing it as a preventative measure. So usually those are the two cases where you would have this procedure done. For me, it was more preventative. So when I got, after my miscarriage, when I got pregnant again, I already went into it knowing that I would have to have a cerclage. And I agreed with my doctors to have it at 14 weeks. And so I got my cerclage done at 14 weeks pregnant. And I'm going to break the video up into a pre-surgery experience and post-surgery experience. So pre-surgery, me looking at YouTube videos, getting the insight. A lot of women talked about their experience with what made their doctors decide to give them a cerclage and what they knew they were going into with having it. And so I will first say, I thought they was going to put my butt to sleep. I thought that they were going to put me to, you know, I knew I had to go under anesthesia because it is a surgery. I thought they would put me to sleep, wake me up when it's done, and that I was going to feel maybe some after pain or cramping. Because a lot of videos, a lot of women said that they experienced cramping afterwards. And so I just thought, okay, they'll put you to sleep, you'll wake up, you'll have some cramping, some aftermath pain, but it'll all be good because your baby will be able to stay inside of you as long as possible throughout the pregnancy. Okay, so no. Doctors don't do the put you to sleep anesthesia for pregnant women anymore. They do spinals. So I had a pre-surgery doctor's appointment, which was my surgery was scheduled for a Friday, so I had a pre-surgery doctor's appointment that Monday just to talk things over and prepare me for it. And that's when she told me, no, you'll be getting something close to an epidural. It's a spinal needle. And I was just like, it's a couple of days before my surgery and Like, I always knew I would be getting anesthesia, but in my mind, anesthesia was the mask, put to sleep, in my mind. And she told me that Monday that it was a spinal needle that's going to numb the bottom half of my body. And for the most part, that I'm going to be awake. I did not want to be awake. I wanted to be sleep. Put me to sleep. Do what you got to do. Wake me up when it's done. Give me some pain medicine. Boom. No, ma'am. That's not what they do nowadays. And if you got a good doctor who's really concerned about the health of your baby and making sure that you're having the healthiest pregnancy possible, they're really going to talk you out of thinking you're going to be put to sleep. They're not trying to put you to sleep, because from what they've told me, the safest thing was to do the spinal and the numbing and to have me awake during the surgery. Now, she did tell me that I would be a little bit drowsy and that I wouldn't really be cognizant of what's going on because the medicine would make me drowsy. I was not drowsy. I was awake. I was very much alert. Okay. So, I'm going off on a tangent. So, let me get back to the pre-surgery. Pre-surgery. I'm looking at YouTube videos, hearing different women's experiences and what they're expecting and everything like that. And really, I was giving myself a lot of anxiety. The night before the surgery, I did not sleep. I was up all night like this. Thinking. Just thinking. Of course, I just told you guys about me having a pre-surgery appointment the Monday before. And then Friday, May 18th was the actual date of my surgery. And so before my surgery, I did experience a lot of anxiety because for me personally, this was my first time ever having a surgery, my first time ever having a cerclage. And I didn't know what to expect because it was just so many firsts that everything was so new to me. So I went through a lot of anxiety trying to prepare for it. So before the surgery, I wrote some notes down. So I'm making sure I tell you guys a good bit of information. Yeah, my mom was really wondering a lot because I was really nervous about like an epidural, a shot in my back. Never had that done before and didn't want it. So I was really upset. Like, there was anxiety, but I was really upset too because I did not want to get that done. And I was so nervous about, like, how is this going to affect the baby? How is this going to affect the baby? I was worried about myself in a sense because I'm like, a shot in my back. But then at the same time, I was like, and then how is all this, like, this numbing? How's it going to affect the baby? Y'all going in there doing things that, it seems painful. I was scared. I was so scared the night before. And my surgery was scheduled for it was scheduled to happen at 7:30 in the morning that Friday. But they told me to be at the hospital by 5:30 in the morning. So I had to wake up really early because I had to be to the doctor by 5:30 in the morning. But I didn't really get any sleep because I was up all night worrying. And so I arrived to the hospital late. Let me tell you, that's what my anxiety did to me. I was not in a rush. I didn't really rush my boyfriend to, he took his shower, did what he had to do. I was not rushing him at all. He could have made full-blown breakfast meal, and I would have been like, because I was just that nervous and anxious that I was not in a rush. I was going to sit there patiently and let them do what he had to do. And so I was already ready. But I didn't end up, I got to the hospital late. I didn't get there till 6 o'clock. But I got there. So, so when I got to the hospital and I got signed in and everything, and, they call you up before, a couple of days before your surgery to get some pre-information, like your medical history, if you ever had surgery before, if you have a will, typical questions that they would ask you before they operate on your body. So they had a lot of my information. So check-in went really quick because they already had so much of my information. And they took me to the room that I was going to be in to just get prepped. So as I'm sitting there, I just, my guy, he's talking to me and he's trying to just lighten the mood, just have conversation so that I'm not just sitting there thinking about it. And I just bust out, start crying. First of all, he was talking about surgeries. He wasn't talking about my surgery, but he was talking about surgery. So it didn't really help because it was just like, now you got me thinking. And so I just started bust out crying because I was already having a lot of anxiety. And then he started talking about that. I just bust out crying. And he held me and he was like, what's wrong? You know, like, you got this, right? You got this. And I was like, no, I ain't got it. I don't want an epidural. And that was the first thing I said. I don't want an epidural. Because I really didn't. So I started crying because I was just overwhelmed with emotions about what that experience would be like. So that was my experience before the surgery. Pre-surgery. Also pre-surgery, the anesthesiologist came into the room to speak to me. And I have to say, she lightened me up so much. She had good energy. I had so many questions for her, as you guys see me telling you how nervous and anxious I was. I had a lot of questions for her. What exactly are you putting in me? What kind of shot is it? Where exactly is it? You know, I had a lot of questions. And she kind of just, you know, took my hand and explained it to me that it's not an epidural, but it's like an epidural. It's going to be, the shot is going to be put in the same spot. They called it a spinal. So they numb your back. The first injection is just like a little quick shot to numb the area, and then you get the actual shot, but you don't even feel it. It just feels like pressure. It don't hurt at all. Oh my goodness. To think I was just so worried. For me, it did not hurt at all. I drove myself crazy for nothing. It did not hurt. I guess it's just the thought of it, of getting a shot in your back. I guess this is where it all is, because it did not hurt. I have a picture of where the site, I took a picture of the Band-Aid on my back when I got home. So that's around the area where the shot was put. And it really wasn't that bad, honestly, guys. So if you are anything like me, and you are having anxiety because you don't want to get the shot, I'm spending a good amount of time on that because I know I can't possibly be the only one. It's not that bad. They numb you before they even do the shot, and it's quick. It's not even long. It's quick, and it just feels like a little pressure. Boop, pressure. It's not painful. So what else did I write down? I wrote down stuff because I didn't want to forget. Talked about that. Talked about the shot. Talked about YouTube. Okay, what I will say is, so some of the YouTube videos that I looked at, you can't take everybody's experience into account because they're probably at a different hospital with different staff. They're probably at a different stage in their pregnancy. Like I said, I was 14 weeks when I got my cervical cerclage. One of the videos I looked at, the young lady was 24 weeks, and hers was an emergency situation where she was beginning to open, so they had to do an emergency. So sometimes you can't take people's experience too much into account for your own, because their situation is different. And even I did find a video where it was another African American young lady who was having a preventative cerclage at 14 weeks, just like me, and even her experience was different. She said that she felt a burning sensation afterwards and all this kind of stuff, and she said she had really bad cramping. Like, she was really going on and on about the cramping in her video. And I'm kind of diving into post-surgery here, so I'll just say post-surgery now. I'm going to kind of talk about that. But I didn't experience cramping afterwards. Not a bit. Thank God I didn't. I'm happy I didn't, and I hope it happens. You young ladies out there who may be getting this done, I hope the same thing happens for you too. I didn't experience a lot of cramping. I'll be real honest. The only time I felt discomfort or anything close to pain was during the actual procedure. And a lot of it was mental, but some physical too. because like I said, you're not asleep. You are awake. It's not the type of anesthesia where you be put to sleep. You're awake. And so the numbing, it does numb you, and it does do it good, the spinal shot. But you can still feel sensations. So you can feel pulling, tugging, and pressure. It just feels like pressure. So like if there's, stick something up you, or if they're clamping your cervix or whatever that they're doing to you, you feel pressure and you feel pull, tugging and stuff. And it doesn't feel like it's not excruciating pain. You're not feeling excruciating pain. Like, it's very much tolerable, but it's uncomfortable. So I will say I did feel that, and I hope I don't scare anyone with that. I really do, because I don't want you to go into it thinking that it's going to be bad or painful, because it wasn't. And actually, the procedure is really quick. It only takes like 10-15 minutes. They kept saying 20, but I think in that 20 minutes, a good 5 to 10 minutes was maybe the prep and the anesthesia and all that kind of stuff, because the actual when the actual surgery began and I was feeling all that, whatever they were doing, it was maybe 10 minutes of that. Now, some of y'all gonna go, okay, 10 minutes could be a long time if you're uncomfortable, and I get it. But if it was quick, I promise you, it was quick. So even if you are feeling a little anxious over the fact that you might still feel some sensations, it's really quick. It's not a long procedure at all. And that was the only uncomfortable part I had. I kid you not. I promise you, that's the only uncomfortable part. For real. And so that just comes along with the type of anesthesia that you get. You're not going to be asleep. You're going to be awake. And for me personally, it may work different on different people, but it didn't make me drowsy. I was alert. I was up. It was another nurse, and I'm glad I just thought about that, because I wanted to comment on the staff. Positive. One of the nurses kept talking to me, just holding conversation. We was talking about her kids. We was talking about, I was sitting here like, look, this child better go to Harvard after I done had to go through all this to have her. And, I'm sitting here, we just holding conversation, being silly. And it helped so much, because it helped to take my mind off of whatever pressure I was feeling from the surgery being done. It helped so much. So I don't know her name, but thank you so much for holding conversation with me, because for me it helped. And she just had such a beautiful spirit. I was really happy. She held my hand. I was sitting there tapping the thing. Every time I felt any type of pressure, I sat there and I tapped the thing like this, and she came over and talked to me. And it was a good experience, because the staff was so nice. Even the staff that took me from the waiting room area to the surgery room before I got my anesthesia and all that, they were joking with me. They were talking. They had such good energy. They were so freaking nice. For me to have been going through having anxiety attacks and crying on my man's shoulder and all that, I went through that. They probably didn't even know about before I came there or got to that point of going into the surgery room. And for them to be that way with me, I don't even think they know how much it helped. So if you are watching this video because you're in medical school or you're in nursing school and you just want to be informed of, procedures like this, I will say having a positive attitude, having good energy, and just being nice to your patients, it's a part of the care. And it really helped for me for what I was going through emotionally and mentally, trying to gather myself and prepare for it. I just can't begin to explain. The anesthesiologist, super sweet. One of the male nurses, he just kept joking with me and making me laugh and stuff, just being silly, and it lightened my mood. It made me feel safe, because I'm like, okay, these are good people, maybe I could trust them. I could kind of chill a bit, take a chill pill, because I begin to trust them and feel comfortable with them. So if you are in the medical field, nurse, CNA, doctor, going to med school, whatever you want to be, that meant so much. And it helped me to be a better patient for them, because I was so cooperative, and because I trust them. I wasn't like squirmy and stuff, even though I was nervous about getting a shot. And they were like, oh my goodness, you're doing good. You ain't jumping, you ain't doing nothing, girl. I don't need to hold your hand. And you know, they were just so cool. But I was able to be a cooperative and good patient for them because they made me feel comfortable. And so if you're watching this video for that reason, I hope you get something from that. I really do, because that helped me a lot. And I know a good bit of them didn't know what I went through before pre-surgery. It helped a lot. I thank you, you guys. I don't even know I didn't even get their names, but wow, thank you. For me, I had my surgery done at Palmetto Baptist in Columbia, South Carolina. So shout out to you guys. I know my doctor's name, Dr. Yolanda Mines. So shout out to her too, because she was super sweet. Came and checked on me, talked to my guy after the surgery, updated him again, spoke to him for a while, spoke to me for a while, and she was awesome. She just had such positive energy. And when she came into the room to talk to me before we even got into the surgery room, when we were just in kind of like that waiting room area, when you're just sitting on the bed with your gown on and stuff waiting, she came into the room. I had to be at the hospital, like I told you, at 5:30 in the morning, and so it was early. She came in there, makeup done, looking good. She looked awake, like she had a good morning breakfast or something. Smelled good. I don't know what type of perfume it was, but she smelled good. And I was just like, you know what? Because that made me feel better too. I was like, she ready. She is ready. So it was just like the little things, from people being nice to smiling and just having positive energy, that helped me to really gather myself. So it meant the world to me. It really did. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to what I felt during the surgery. So another thing I was worried about was, during my time and feeling that pressure, I was really worried about the baby. But that's normal. Every month you're going to be worried about your baby and if everything's going right with them during this process like this. So after the surgery, when I went into the recovery area, there were 2 different recovery areas. One was to wait for you to get feeling back in your leg after the anesthesia, for it to wear off. I was in there for 3 hours. So for my honey that was waiting for me, most of his waiting time was for me to be able to use my legs again. Because the surgery was like, what, 15 minutes? 10, 15 minutes? Most of his waiting time was 3 hours of me sitting, waiting for the anesthesia to wear off so I could walk. During that time, they checked the baby, looked for the baby's heartbeat. And I was able to hear my baby's heartbeat, and it took so much pressure off me, because I was like, you're okay. You're probably a bit numb like me. That's probably why you're not moving much, but you're okay. So that made me feel really good. I was really happy. So that's something that you're going to want to look out for. If they don't automatically do it, don't feel bad asking, like, hey, can y'all check the baby heartbeat afterwards? Ask them. Because I know I did. I was like, because that was something that I was so worried about. I'm going to need y'all to do that. I'm going to need to hear a heartbeat. So if you're feeling nervous about the situation, you can ask. Feel comfortable. Feel free to ask. Let's see what else I wrote. Oh, you go home the same day. So this is the outpatient surgery. This is a booklet I received, or a folder that I received before going into surgery, pre-surgery. Post-surgery, you know, they give you a discharge folder. So the discharge folder just had information about my next doctor's appointment, my follow-up appointment, and how to take care of myself now that I'm home. And the pre-surgery just gave me like directions to the hospital, and it had information on what a cerclage is and all that kind of stuff and different things. So I'm not going to go through it because they got this information from the Mayo Clinic. So you could Google www.mayoclinic.org and look up cervical cerclage and get the information, the same exact information. Yeah, this is information about my follow-up appointment and stuff too. So that's that. Okay, so aftermath, since I kind of just blurred just started talking, and I kind of just eased into the post surgery part. But post surgery, so I know a lot of people are worried about, oh, what am I going to feel like after? Me, I didn't have any cramping. Some women say that they experience cramping. It is inside of the sheet, the information sheet, that that's something you may experience. Another thing that women were worried about that you may experience is bleeding. I did have some spotting, but it was not a lot at all. You wasn't filling up no pads, nothing like that. It was literally spotting, and really it looked more like that old blood. For me, it didn't look like that new bright, that reddish type blood. It looked more like the darker tint, brownish, dark pinkish, whatever kind of blood, and it wasn't a lot of it at all. So did I experience the little aftermath bleeding? Yes, but more like spotting, because it wasn't a lot at all for me in my experience. So if that's something that you're worried about too, hopefully you'll have the same experience, because I didn't have a lot of spotting, but you will have some. It's there. They stitch your cervix. So I know for me, I was worried about the bleeding too. That was causing a lot of anxiety with me, because I've experienced having 2 miscarriages before. And during the first one, it was a whole lot of blood. And during the second one, the second one I actually gave birth, so that was a whole different process. But I didn't want to see blood with this pregnancy. Like, this pregnancy, I wanted to have that mindset that I'm doing what I got to do. I'm getting a cerclage. I'm being preventative, and it's all going to be good. So I didn't want to go into this pregnancy. I didn't want to see any blood. I just was not beat for blood. So when I say, for me and my experience, it was a huge relief that it wasn't a lot of blood. I can't begin to explain how happy I am about that. I'm like, wow, thank you. So happy, because I didn't want that. I didn't want to have to deal with that. Because I just felt like it would just be traumatizing all over again. So I'm really happy that I ain't feel no cramping afterwards. In all honesty, it could have been the medicine that they gave me before I left the hospital, or it could just be different strokes, different folks, whatever. Different experience for different people. Glad that I just said that too. Medicine. So they usually just only want to give you Tylenol because you're pregnant and you have to be careful what you take. So they gave me, I only took 2 medicines during my time at the hospital. Pre-surgery, it was, I don't know the name of the medication, but it was something that for like acid reflux, because they tell you not to eat after midnight, the night before your surgery. You just can't eat at all, nothing else. You can't eat nothing. So you ain't got nothing on your belly before you about to get all this stuff done. So they give you a pill to deal with the acid that's in your stomach. So that had nothing to do with pain. That's just something to give you because you got acid floating around in your stomach and you haven't had anything to eat. It ain't got nothing to do. So they give you something to do. So after, when I was in the recovery area after the surgery, they gave me another pill. I don't know the name of that pill either. I just took whatever they gave me. I'm gonna be real honest. I don't know the name of that pill. But when I had asked her, she said, oh, it's like an ibuprofen, for pain. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I didn't want to be in any pain. So I took it, and it was 1 pill. And like I said, I don't know the name of it, but she said it was like ibuprofen. So I don't think it was ibuprofen. But those were the only 2 pills that they gave me during my time at the hospital. And this is 2 days later for me. Today is Sunday, May 20th. My surgery was Friday, May 18th. And I haven't felt any cramping or anything since. I've actually went to the grocery store, did my little, shopping. I wasn't supposed to. The doctor told me that, she said, take it easy, don't go. It's funny because she specifically said to me, don't go grocery shopping, stay at home, lay down. She specifically said that. And it's funny because then 2 days later I go to the grocery store. But so I didn't get a whole lot of stuff, and I didn't really get anything heavy. Anything that I had that was heavy, I let my mans get it. I took the light stuff, like it was chips or something that I could carry, But Don't pick up anything heavy after you. Don't do it. If any, that might be something that caused you to cramp or whatever. Don't do it. They tell you not to lift anything over 10 pounds. Listen to them. Don't do it. But for the most part, this weekend I have been lounging around. I've just been looking at movies, eating, and that was my first time going out. Really, no, it's not. I'm lying. We went out to eat. But I didn't drive. This was my first time like getting in the car, driving, and doing something. But that just goes to show that I was feeling good after my surgery. I wasn't in a lot of pain or anything. The next morning, we went to Cracker Barrel for breakfast. So it was like 9 in the morning. We went to Cracker Barrel. We sat down. We was eating, talking. I was fine. You know, walked around to get my food, plate and stuff. Wasn't in any pain. And this was the day after surgery. I did tell you guys that this was an outpatient surgery, and I did go home the same day. So to give you a timeline of what that looked like, I did spend most of my day in the hospital. Like I said, I had to be there at 5:30 in the morning. Surgery was like around 7:30 in the morning. It only took about, let's say, 15-20 minutes, whatever. Then I was in recovery for the anesthesia to wear off for like 3 hours. And then I spent another couple of hours in a second recovery room where I was able to be with my man and talk with him and all that. And they don't let you leave until you can use the bathroom on your own. So they wait for all that numbing to really wear off. And it didn't take me long to be able to use the bathroom again on my own. But it was so weird because the first time I tried to use the bathroom by myself, I was like, I don't feel nothing. Like, there's nothing down there. And I knew that my bladder was full because they gave me Cheez-Its and Coca-Cola to drink and all this stuff. And I felt like pressure in my stomach. And it wasn't hurting me, but it was just uncomfortable. And I was like, I think my bladder full. Like, I really think that's what it was. And they was like, yeah, more than likely, but you can't leave until you can empty it out on your own. And if you can't empty out on your own, they're going to try and get a catheter and help you drain it. So take your time. Don't try and rush out the hospital. Sit there. Wait for that anesthesia to wear off so you can use the bathroom on your own. Because that's what I did. I didn't want anybody picking and prancing with me. I said, I'll wait. I'll get up off this toilet and sit down in the chair for another hour or so. And that's what I did. I sat down on a little couch in the room for a while. And after maybe like an hour or so, I went back in the bathroom and I was able to do it on my own. So, and I was able to go home. Yay. So, that was a good thing because I didn't want, y'all did enough primping and pramping on me today. I will go on my own. Just give me time. So, that's something to experience too. You will not go home until a nurse sees you use the bathroom on your own. What else did I want to tell you guys? This video is taking much longer than what I anticipated. I really did not mean to keep going on and on, but it was just such an experience for me. It was the first time I went through a lot of anxiety thinking it was going to just be so horrible, and it wasn't. I was smiling a lot the whole time. Like I said, the nurses and people, everybody was so nice to me and joking around. When I say I really had a smile on my face most of the time, I kid you not, I was smiling, laughing most of the time because they just kept joking around with me. I was on the surgery table and sitting there doing like this because I was uncomfortable with the pulling and pramping and the pressure that you feel. So I'm sitting here doing that and she talking to me, joking around. I'm sitting there laughing with her, a smile on my face. So I was really in good spirits throughout this whole thing. And a big part of that, I do have to give it up to the staff. But don't drive yourself crazy. It's not that bad. It's really not. You have to have somebody at the hospital with you waiting for you because they're not going to let you drive home by yourself. You are not allowed to drive home by yourself. You're not allowed to sign paperwork. They didn't even let me sign paperwork. They gave it to my man. They said, okay, well, while you're under the influence right now because you had anesthesia and this and that, you can't drive, you can't sign any important documents, you can't, and they went over all that with me. So that's just something else to be prepared for. If you never had surgery before, those are the type of things they're going to say to you, and that's what's going to happen. So for me, my spouse had to handle paperwork. He had to to wait for me throughout the whole thing. They gave him like a walkie-talkie phone thing so that he could know when I was in surgery, when I was out and anesthesia recovery, when I was coming to the second recovery. And they really kept him posted and updated, and they were so sweet to him. And that meant a lot to me too, because even if he tried not to act like it, I know he was worried, and I know he was probably annoyed with waiting for such a long time. Cause I was in anesthesia recovery for like 3 hours. I could not feel. They said, April, move your toes. My toes was like, okay, this is me acting like it's my feet. They was like, April, move your toes. I was like, I'm doing it. You don't see it? My toes was like this. They wasn't going nowhere, girl. I thought I was doing this. I thought I was giving them some action. Nothing. It was like, I was like, I'm doing it. Look at it. So it took 3 hours for mine to wear off. It's different for different people. They said they had some people who was back wiggling their toes and bending their legs within an hour. Not the kid. I was in there for 3 hours. And then even when I went to the second recovery and I was able to be with my spouse, I was in there for another couple of hours. Most of it was because they were waiting for me to be able to use the bathroom on my own, but I still was numb in certain areas. So that spinal will numb you. It's worth getting it. Okay. I think I covered everything. I told you about the baby. I told you about pre and post. If you have any questions, and because this video is super long, longer than what I wanted, I think I said 3 minutes and now it's like 30 minutes later. I'm sorry. I couldn't get all that information out in 3 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, because leave it down in the comment box. Like the video if it was helpful for you. I hope it was. I hope I relieved some like tension and anxiety that some people may have been feeling, because I had such a positive experience. I'm telling you, I couldn't not share my story, because I know that there's somebody else out there going through this, and it wasn't bad. Boo, it was not bad. Stay prayed up, meditate, whatever it is that you do for you, do it, and you'll be okay. But I think I pretty much covered everything. Post surgery, how I felt, not much pain, a little bit of bleeding. And I think those were the two major things that they say you might experience after, was the bleeding and the cramping. But y'all heard what I said. So yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll reply when I see it. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't answered in the video. So I really hope this was informative. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you got something out of it. And all of you women out there who are making these kind of decisions, getting cerclages to have a healthy pregnancy, more power to you. I wish you the best of luck throughout your pregnancy. Stay safe, stay healthy, make good decisions. Don't be lifting up nothing over 10 pounds if you're going through this. For real. And enjoy your pregnancy experience now. If you've already gotten it done and that's one less thing for you to worry about, then congratulations to you. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy your pregnancy. So enjoy your pregnancy.